Alright. I think these are arrowcraft wheel spacers. This is to make a standard two-wheel drive truck into a dually front. There's the rear right there. That is 5/8 by 18 studs that they put in there. Don't know why they only do that, because now you can only run steel wheels with these studs. Unless you spend $100 for acorn lug nuts and ream your aluminum wheels you just bought out. So figure in that. So figure in $2,000 worth of tires and wheels. Figure in another $1,000 for spacers and the lug nuts. They come with studs, and they come with cheap lug nuts for these that say use the acorn lug nuts. There's not as much clamping force with an acorn lug nut. She said these will not fit. Yes, the standard lug nut fits beautifully. The only thing is, it's hub-centric in the center, but since the hole's drilled out bigger, don't know why, the acorn lug nuts are so piss poor small, I ain't gonna use them. I might use two to hold it lined up, but I'm gonna show you what they give you. Bottle of Loctite, and this small bag of acorn lug nuts that probably cost 10 cents. That thing's so thin and small, I ain't gonna trust it. I'm gonna put them on with a wrench, and I ain't gonna use Loctite, because if you put them on at 140 foot-pounds of torque, they ain't gonna vibrate off anyway. So I'm gonna use the proper lug nuts for them. And now these won't fit the studs they got, because they're 5/8 studs. These are 14 by 1.5 metrics. And I got some Dorman studs. I thought I might could swap them out, but no, even the base is bigger. So you might could call them and tell them don't drill them out so big, and drill them for a stock standard stud, because $800 for a set of wheel spacers, and you can't use factory wheels. You can only use steel wheels. That's about like shooting yourself in the foot and hoping you don't bleed out. It's about stupid. When you spend thousands of dollars to get a dually, guess what? Go ahead and save your money, spend $10,000 to buy a dually, because I'm going to buy a whole dually rear end, and that's $1,500. So what money am I saving? I ain't saving no money, and I'm working my butt off to try to make something work that the only thing on the market ain't right. They'll work with a steel wheel if I drill the hub out, but I can't even drill the hub out, because that's not a dually wheel. The only dually wheel is what I got on the back, and them things are ugly as hell, and why would anybody put a stock steel dually wheel on something that they're trying to make a dually truck out of? Don't make sense. And the first thing I had was a set of rotors that were spacer made on them. Summit sold them. One of them said for two-wheel drive, and one of them said for four-wheel drive. Guess what? Neither one of them are for four-wheel drive. So they had to go back. That was $308. Just got credited back after a month. So, factory hubs, if you can find them, or factory four-wheel drive front end dually, is going to be your cheapest bet if you can find a wrecked truck and just rebuild it. Because this way right here, and she said, oh, it ain't going to work, because on the back, I'm going to have a 2-inch spacer in between their 3.5-inch spacer. Let me get a tape measure. I think she said it's 3.5. That one's like 4.5. Hold on. So you spend $1,000 tires and wheels, and that ain't even buying 6 brand new wheels. That's just buying 2. That puts it at 7-inch from your brake rotor. Their spacer is 3 3/8, or excuse me, 4 3/8, and then the back one is 3.5. So I just had to order $100 worth of damn lug nuts just to try to make this thing work. I keep shooting myself in the foot for no damn reason at all. So if anybody wants to do spacers, get your factory stuff best way you can. Find a wrecked truck, tore up truck, or whatever, because the rear end's beefier. It's a Dana 80, but you ain't gonna have all this mess problem. And you can find spiked lug nuts and any other kind of lug nuts. I found one company that sells lug nuts. Summit and them's got them for race cars, and they're $16 for 5. So you buy 32 of them, and they ain't gonna fit because your socket's got to be able to go in the hole. So you can't get 3-inch long studs or 3-inch long sockets to fit a 3-inch long nut to get it to where you can go through the hole, because they got a 13/16 hex and they got 7/8 hex. 7/8 socket will barely fit in there, but if them studs ain't perfectly round, they won't. So you gotta get a long 2.5-inch or 3-inch long lug nut, and there ain't but 4 options that'll work. And little bitty small non-chrome style that goes on a factory style wheel that are open on both sides ain't worth the crap. Not when you're spending $1,000 for a set of wheels, and that's cheap wheels. So luckily I had the 4 tires. I only had to buy these 2. Them 2 tires right there were $600. So, you know. So I'm gonna tell you, $700 for wheel spacers. I'm doubting it. I'm doubting it very seriously. I offered the boy $200. He had a dually truck. He was gonna part it out, and I told him his had a lot of miles on it. His was like 350,000. I told him I'd buy the front rotors for $200. He never got back with me. He said everybody keeps contacting him, so he was gonna keep it and part it out. 7.3 never even run. So good luck with holding on to parts. It looked like he needed all the money he could get, but $200 was as fair as I was going to do. Anyhow, I can't even put them on until I get lug nuts. So I'm just sitting here spinning wheels for no reason at all, just to see if it'll work. Like I said, she said use the provided lug nuts and Loctite them to get them onto the factory studs. Now, that ain't going to work for me. And I could weld them up and have them machined down, but then I'm shooting myself in the foot again because I'm spending money to have a machinist mill them back down. I can weld them up, but then to drill them back out and make sure they're centered, because those are bent and twisted to one side and another, they don't fit through the wheel too good because they ain't pressed in properly. And I guess you had to press in through the hole in the back. I don't know. Those ain't no big deal to press in and out. But like I said, the hole's bored out because that's a 5/8 stud, and the back of it's even bigger than that. It's a big beefy stud, but they're short. You can't do 2 aluminum wheels on the back. You can only do 1 steel wheel and aluminum wheels, what she said. So, better hope them 2-inch spacer wheels on the back are going to work. And I don't even know what those cost me because I didn't ask her. That was $403 or $404 and $300 and something dollars. So, you do the math. $80, $90 for shipping. They're in the Midwest. So I guess I'll put the factory tire and wheel back on this thing and go park it out in the backyard and wait 4 or 5 more days. FedEx lady dropped that off yesterday, and I told her she had another box. She said, no, I don't. I said, that box says 2 of 2, so 1 of 2 is somewhere. She said, well, it ain't on my truck. She looked. Guess what? She brought it out here today. So she'll be out here tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So I still got to do a transmission job, so it looks like I'll be doing a transmission job before I do tires and wheels on this thing. Starting to get aggravating. But I'm going to put this up there and let y'all get educated, because there's a company in California says they sell the same thing. And steel spacers are the most expensive, but that'd be the only ones I trust. I wouldn't dare do this with no aluminum spacers. So the company in California supposedly stole their patent, their ideas or whatever, and I had talked to them, and they cost a little bit more. So I went with this lady because she seemed to be honest and upfront. So I gave her my business. Y'all can use California, or y'all can buy some cheap ones off the internet. But like I said, I dang sure wouldn't do this with aluminum. And they tell you got to follow your standard gross vehicle weight anyway, even with these on there. So I might be looking for a dually front axle also with low miles and the rear end. And then I'll turn around and try to sell all this mess and buy me something else. I don't know. But let y'all get educated on it. Let y'all make it a safe and sit figure, because I looked all over about Dodge spacers and Ford spacers, and the only thing I could find was something that wasn't no help. So guess what? Spent about $3,000 or $4,000 I figured out for myself. Guess what? You didn't need to do it. Anyhow, let y'all figure it out for yourself. Hope y'all have a good night.